Now that the Jets season is over and several members of the Jets staff have been relieved of their duties, some media reports about what went down this season have started to trickle out. Most of this stemmed from Zack Rosenblatt of The Athletic dropping a great article that went into some of the struggles of the offense this year and detailing the damaged relationship between Mike LaFleur and players on the Jets offense, most notably of which was Zach Wilson. According to the report, Zach Wilson struggled with the complexity of LaFleur's scheme as a rookie, and that contributed to the 3-10 record in the games he played in. Then during the offseason, LaFleur would often tell people how much more effective the offense looked with Joe Flacco, Josh Johnson, and Mike White running it. So in order to help Wilson, LaFleur reduced the volume of plays and tried to make things more digestible, and that helped Wilson get a better hold of the offense in OTAs. However, after the game against Green Bay, some of the receivers started to get frustrated with how simple the offense had become and how often they were getting the ball. In that game, Zach Wilson was 10 of 18 for 110 yards while playing through a separation of the AC joint in his left shoulder. And this game led to the infamous bust-up between Elijah Moore and Mike LaFleur in practice, where according to Rosenblatt's report, Moore had some pretty choice words for LaFleur. Fast forward to Zack's 3-interception game against the Patriots, and that was when Wilson's relationship with LaFleur started to go south. Steve Young recently commented on the relationship in a radio interview, saying that Zack doesn't need tough love. He doesn't need somebody to see how tough he is. He needs a big brother, a young, knowledgeable innovator, someone who he can trust and says to him, "You know what, despite everything that's happened, Zack, I believe in you, you can get this done." Zack needs that. Mike kind of kept him at arm's length and gave him the tough love aspect, and I don't think that's really useful for Zack. Then, of course, there was the 10-3 game against the Patriots when Zack only threw for 77 yards and had the viral interview, which ultimately led to his benching. Wilson ended up apologizing to his teammates, but according to the report, his teammates and Mike LaFleur were both excited to have Mike White as their quarterback. Then, when White got injured and Wilson replaced him a couple games later, multiple teammates openly grumbled about his return during practice and in meetings. So, as Rosenblatt put it, the offense couldn't overcome a QB who lost his confidence and a coordinator who felt constrained by the quarterback's limitations. Now, after letting that story sink in a little bit and thinking about it, I have a few thoughts. First of all, the culture in the Jets locker room seems kind of toxic. When you have teammates openly complaining about the starting quarterback, that's not a good look. And for those of us that have been on a team before, it's definitely frustrating when one of your teammates is struggling. But it's pretty much never going to help the situation get better if all you do is complain about it. So maybe instead of throwing your arms in the air, rolling your eyes, and sighing, you could actually talk to your teammate and tell them that you've got their back. If Zack was struggling with confidence, I'm sure it didn't help that his teammates were actively rooting for another guy to take his spot. Not to mention the fact that the offensive coordinator was kind of a part of that discussion. The relationship between an offensive coordinator and the starting quarterback is one of the most important relationships on a football team. If you don't get that right, then you're toast. Of course, this requires effort from both sides to make the relationship work, but when one side is complaining about the other, that's not great. And as for the people saying that if Zack can't deal with tough love, that he shouldn't be in the NFL, well, maybe that's true. But on the other hand, it is a coach's job to get the most out of their players. So if your starting quarterback needs a coach with a certain kind of personality to get the best out of him, you should side with your quarterback. The way the Jets have handled Zach Wilson's development has been a great example of what not to do. I mean, the fact that Mike LaFleur was talking about how much better the offense was without Zack playing tells me everything I need to know. When you draft a quarterback second overall in the draft, it is your responsibility as an offensive coordinator to help with his development. Most of the time, rookie quarterbacks struggle. It is very rare that you draft a Joe Burrow or a Justin Herbert. It requires patience to develop a quarterback, and oftentimes rookies don't play very much or at all their first year so that they can get adjusted to things. They say a bad workman always blames his tools, and to me it seems like LaFleur was blaming his tools. That being said, in LaFleur's defense, he did try and simplify the playbook for Zack, and it still didn't work. But overall, I don't think it's a good look that he was complaining about how the offense looked better without Zack in it. So where do things go from here for Zach Wilson and the Jets? Well, I think it's a good start that the Jets are willing to go get a veteran quarterback. That will allow Zack to sit back and watch a proven QB as the second or third string. And if you couple that with everything he has learned the last 2 years, I think that's going to be very beneficial for his development. I think it will also be good for Zack to work with a new offensive coordinator. Hopefully the Jets can get someone with proven success and experience that will help rejuvenate the team's struggling offense and help Zack get his confidence back. And then finally, Zack will keep putting in the work. Anyone close to Zack will tell you that he is an extremely hard worker and that his work ethic has never been a problem. He wants to be great and is willing to put in the work to get there. Whether or not Wilson's future is with the Jets long term remains to be seen, but for next season, I think they will keep him on the roster and do what they can to continue his development. Let me know what you guys thought about Zack's article, and I will see you guys next time.